During my interviews at Oxford, one of the most difficult questions I was asked was what makes a perfect virus. Bear in mind that this question didn't just come out of the blue, the topic we were already discussing was viruses. Let me quickly explain how I answered the question, then I'll give you some general interview tips and tell you some of the other questions that I was asked. It's quite difficult, but the way I approached it was starting from the basics. What does a virus need to survive? The virus needs to be able to lower the host's defenses enough for it to be able to enter, survive, and get the nutrients it needs, but not enough to kill the host, because this means that the virus would lose its home. The virus also needs to be able to effectively avoid detection by the host's immune system. This is an example of how you could think through the question out loud in order to reach the answer. The interviewer then asked if I could name any viruses that were close to being arguably perfect, and I said no. He then went on to explain that the virus I ended up describing almost perfectly fits a description of the Epstein-Barr virus, which is carried mostly asymptomatically by 9 out of 10 of the world's adults. I'd never even heard of this virus. This highlights quite an important point. The purpose of this question wasn't to test if I could recall random facts that I might have spent hours cramming just before the interview, but whether or not I could approach a completely unknown topic logically and try to make some sense of it. It's quite likely that your interviewers will end up being your college tutors who you meet often in tutorials to discuss essays. So they really just want to see if you would be the sort of person that they would enjoy teaching and would benefit the most from it. Here are my tips for nailing this type of scientific question. Tip 1 is to think out loud. Even if you don't know the answer immediately, try to break it down and start by saying something simple which you can build upon. Tip 2, it's okay to ask questions. After all, it's supposed to be a discussion and not just a quiz. Tip 3, don't spend hours cramming your A-level syllabus before the interview. The interviewers don't care about what you already know. Instead, try to spend your time talking about topics that you're unfamiliar with. This can be to a friend or even to yourself in the mirror. Finally, here are some of the other questions that I was asked during my 4 interviews at Oxford. Good luck, don't stress, and comment if you have any questions for me.